Stand for the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to call this meeting of the Town of Plattsburgh Town Board to order for June 3rd, 2013 at 7 p.m. I'm actually, according to that clock, a couple minutes early. If we could do a roll call, please.
Bernie Bassett.
Here.
Thomas Wood.
Here.
Martin Manick.
Here.
Paul Lemoyne.
Here.
Gerard Renadette.
Here.
James Coffey.
Here.
And Rick Collins.
Resolution 168, approving the minutes of the previous meeting.
Resolved that the minutes of April 15th and May 20th, 2013 be approved and the reading of the minutes be dispensed with.
Have a motion.
So moved.
Mr. Wood, second.
Second.
Mr. Renadette, any discussion? Roll call.
Thomas Wood.
Yes.
Martin Manick.
Yes.
Paul Lemoyne.
Yes.
Gerard Renadette.
Yes.
Bernie Bassett.
Yes, resolution carries. We do have a public hearing at 7:05, and I always use the wall clock, so I'm going to continue with the next resolution. I'll go back to the public hearing at 7:05. That would take us to resolution 168. Yes, sir.
Would we open it for conversation, for comment?
Not on these nights, work session.
Oh, shoot, sorry.
You're right. Resolution 169, abstract 5B.
Resolved that the abstract of audit claims number 5B-13, 1073 to 1144 for $239,498.81. And abstract 5B-13, 203 to 222 prepays in the amount of $820,524.70 be received as reviewed by the audit committee, and the supervisor is hereby authorized to pay said abstract.
Have a motion.
So,
Mr. Lemoyne, second. Mr. Mannix, any discussion? Roll call.
Thomas Wood.
Yes.
Martin Manick.
yes.
Paul Lemoyne.
Yes.
Gerard Renadette.
Yes.
Bernie Bassett.
Yes, that resolution carries. Resolution 170, authorizing the highway superintendent to start the 2013 paving program.
Whereas the town of Plattsburgh has appropriated a total of $300,930 in the 2013 highway budget for the 2013 road paving program. Whereas James Wood, highway superintendent, and the highway committee have submitted the 2013 highway road paving program attached, identifying the town roads as greatest need of repair for a total estimated cost of $300,930. And whereas funding for the 2013 road paving repair and improvements program to be taken from DA-5110-4200 and DA-5112-4200 and CHIPS account. Now therefore be resolved that the town board, town of Plattsburgh, does hereby authorize the highway superintendent to spend the appropriated funds to implement the aforementioned 2013 road paving program, with paving to take place on the roads recommended by the highway superintendent and the highway committee. And it be further resolved that a copy of this resolution be given to the budget officer, finance manager, and highway superintendent.
Have a motion.
So,
Mr. Wood, second. Mr. Mannix?
yes.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Thomas Wood.
Yes.
Martin Manick.
Yes.
Paul Lemoyne.
Yes.
Gerard Renadette.
Yes.
Bernie Bassett.
Yes, resolution carries. Resolution 171, tax receivers monthly report.
Resolved to receive and place on file a report from Jackie Ballou, tax receiver for the 2013 property tax.
Have a motion.
So moved.
Mr. Renadette, second.
Second.
Mr. Lemoyne, any discussion? Roll call.
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Martin Manick,
Yes.
Paul Lemoyne,
Yes.
Gerard Renadette.
Yes.
Bernie Bass.
Yes, the resolution carries. We'll get one more in before the hearing. Resolution 172, appointment of Robert Fuller to the Board of Directors for the Saranac River Trail Greenway project from the town of Plattsburgh.
Whereas the Town of Plattsburgh Master Plan and Park and Recreations Committee, Complete Streets Committee has identified a need for creation of bike trails, walking trails, and blueway trails to improve pedestrian access to the parks, historical sites, and other recreational locations within the town. And whereas the Saranac River Trail Greenway provides a unique opportunity for intermunicipal regional network of multi-use recreational trails which promote a healthy community for all Clinton County residents and increase the quality of life within Clinton County. Whereas an ad hoc group known as the Saranac River Trail Greenway is interested in expanding the Saranac River Trail and has obtained status with the state of New York as a corporation. Whereas, as noted in the attached letter, the SRTG has expressed to the town their desire to establish a formal board of directors. And whereas per in the laws of the SRTG, the town of Plattsburgh has the authority to appoint one member to a 7-member SRTG board of directors. Now therefore be resolved that the town board does hereby appoint Mr. Robert Fuller as a representative of the town of Plattsburgh and supports SRTG initiative. And it be further resolved, a copy of this resolution be given to Mr. Robert Fuller, Mr. James Bosley, Clinton County Planning Office, Department Heads Melody DeFaya and Phil Von Bargen, and also to the Finance Manager.
Have a motion.
So moved.
Mr. Manick, second.
Second.
Mr. Wood, any discussion?
Now, this advances what we started with our comprehensive land use plan. I think this is a key component to one of our sections, land recreation area.
And Mr. Fuller has been involved the last couple of years with committees with the town and certainly is a highly qualified person who I think will represent this town very well.
Yeah, currently on Complete Streets Committee.
With our sludge committee that
Right.
was reviewing that issue as well. Any other discussion? Roll call.
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Martin Manick,
Yes.
Paul Lemoyne,
Yes.
Gerard Renadette.
Yes.
Bernie Bass.
Yes, the resolution carries. Okay, now it's 7:05. I'm going to call to order a public hearing. Let me first of all bring this to the table. A public hearing on superseding in its entirety the Town of Plattsburgh's local law number 6 for the year 1997, entitled A Local Law Regulations the Use of Public and Private Sewer and Drains, Private Sewage Disposal, the installation and connection of building sewers, and the discharge of water and waste into the public sewer system, and providing penalties for violations thereof for the consolidated and base sewer districts of the Town of Plattsburgh, Clinton County, New York, and all future sewer districts established by said Town of Plattsburgh and connected to the City of Plattsburgh municipal sewer system. Do I have a motion to open this hearing?
So moved.
Mr. Renner, do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Lemoyne, any discussion? Roll call?
Thomas Wood,
To open? Yes. Yes.
Martin Manick,
Yes.
Paul Lemoyne,
Yes.
Gerard Renadette.
Yes.
Yes.
You caught me on that one. We didn't usually do this, so
Is there anyone, first of all, who has a written statement and written comments to put into the record? If not, we will ask if there is anyone who would like to make a statement. We would ask you, for the record, to please state your name and address.
My name is John St. Germain, Rick Kaysville. I look at this resolution and when in rewriting the law, you're not amending it, you're repealing the old law and everything is new.
Basically, it is the result of working with EPA, coming in compliance with state regulation, as well as, obviously, our County Board of Health. One of the other things that you probably saw, John, in the original law, it noted all the different sewer districts, which now we have to consolidate it and the base. So it's updating the language as well as compliance issues.
Okay, and in section 2.4, I don't know what the old law called for, but in yours, new one, you have a mandatory hookup if you are within 300 feet of the sewer main. And I know how town boards hate to have the federal and state mandate things to you and not pay for them, and I wondered why as a town board you would mandate that if you're in a sewer district, you must hook up, because it's a tremendous expense, number one. Number two, I lived in Katyville for 53 years where I am, and I've only changed my septic system from cement to metal. Other than that, I haven't had to do anything other than get it pumped out every 4 or 5 years. And so I hate to give up a good working system and pay the expense of hooking up to a town main, and if it's mandatory, I don't have any choice, whereas if it was optional.
That item hasn't changed from the original one that was passed in 1997. There's no language change in that at all, and I would guess that's because it's regulatory. Water is an option, sewers not.
Well, water is optional, but I believe Jack Padner, when we did White Pines Common over here and they ran sewer up through, he originally stated that it was mandatory, that it was state law. Then he retracted on that and said, no, it wasn't. And so it doesn't have to be mandatory if you don't make it mandatory, but you're making it mandatory in this new law, which is, unfortunate because of the expense. And the other thing that in 3.4 regulation, the process to close a private system and hook up to the towns is quite extensive in the fact that you gotta pump the tank out, you gotta fill it with gravel or sand or whatever, you gotta bring in topsoil, I assume, and seed it and fix it up. Plus, you gotta take the hookup you have in your house, run that out to the main, and that's another expense. And I would say, you're looking at a couple of $1,000, and there's an awful lot of people in this township that really can't afford to go through that process. And so I think that those two items in this new law that you're bringing out, if I were you, I think I would take a good hard look at them and give some consideration to the taxpayers in the town of Plattsburgh.
That one hasn't changed either from the previous law, which I also believe is regulatory. I'm not an expert, but I made note and I will follow up.
Do you think that's a
I do, John.
state law?
Yeah.
Well, if it's not, if it's local, then we could change
We would have the option to do that, I don't know yet, if I want to.
But you can overrule, right? You could, home rule law, take the rules that doesn't it?
I don't, in some cases, you're right, John, I don't know in this instance, when you're talking about, say, connecting sewer, I don't know if a community to say, we're not going to go along with that. Obviously, it's unfortunate Scott isn't here to tell us exactly. And I know what you mean, in certain cases, you do have a little bit of leeway to pass a local law that's in conflict with the state, yeah. I don't know if this is the case here, though. I don't know.
Duly noted, though, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I have Debbie Blake, Plattsburgh. I have a question. First of all, for Tom. On 3.3, there's a D that should be Owners shall operate it, it should say
I guess I didn't get the comment, the
operate.
last one.
Just wanted to let you know, Tom. This pertains, from what I'm reading, this has to do with the city sewage system and the town pollutants and sewage that goes into the city system. And I just wanted to have it clarified that the Katyville system at this time would not be included under this local law, since it doesn't feed into the city system. Is that correct?
Your question is it not, or does it
Is
have
it
to
not
be?
being included at this time?
That I don't know. That I don't know.
Because the
I would think it
objectives,
is, I don't.
the objectives all have to do with the town and the city. And Katyville, as far as I know, does not feed into the city. Therefore, Katyville would not be included in this local law.
Yep.
So you'll check on that.
Yeah, I know.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
I believe that you're correct on that, and that the law did not apply to Katyville from its inception. I mean, back in
Exactly, because you have your own
97.
plant there.
Yeah, they have their own plant, and it's not part of the discharge into the city
Exactly.
sewer system.
And that was my, at first I read it and I thought it was, and then I read it more carefully and I thought, well, it keeps talking about the city, the system. And since Katyville is not hooked into the system, then the Katyville.
It's very specific in terms of discussing the hearing tonight, where it says, in all future sewer districts established by said town of Plattsburgh and connected to the city of Plattsburgh
Exactly.
municipal sewer.
Exactly. So down here where it says this local law, is that what are you on page 3, Marty? Where
No,
you're
actually,
reading it?
I read that from the
Okay,
notice
because it
about
says
the
this
public
local
hearing.
law shall apply to users within the boundaries of the consolidated base sewer system and to users outside the town sewer districts who are, by contract or agreement with the sewer districts for the town, users of wastewater collection by a town sewer district and the system. So I'm assuming that this would put Katyville outside of this one. Okay, thank you.
I think the
Now,
only,
if we change it so that it goes down into the city, why then?
Well, then we're talking something
I think
else.
the only caveat of that would be if.
Not likely.
I don't know for sure what we do with any sludge from Katyville. Does that get brought to the system and would that make it connected?
It would not be connected. And that would, I don't believe that that's what would be.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you
meant by
mean.
connected.
I think the thing is, I don't think anybody's sure
I
except
mean,
Scott.
for example, people have their septic system pumped out,
That's right.
and that goes down to the sewage treatment plant. That doesn't
I will follow up with that. I mean, it's a good point. I looked over the original law. I don't see a reference to the Katyville system, even when we had each individual system. So
Okay,
for clarity, we all need to know, we'll find that out.
thank you.
Thank you for bringing that up. Is there anyone else that would like to make comment during this time?
Bernie, I would just say in reference to the Katyville thing, what you usually do is you go up with the Campbell truck and empty the system up there and haul it to
And
the
haul it.
city and dump it at the sewage treatment plant in the city.
And that was my thought, that ultimately it ends up there.
It doesn't run through the pipes to the thing, but it ends up there.
It's connected by way of Campbell.
Yeah, yeah.
So it may be guilty by default, but
So-
if so, I think the point brought up is a good one. That needs to be referenced. And if it's excluded, then that needs to be referenced as well.
Yeah.
Which may be an issue later this evening. Is there anyone else who would like to make comment? If not, I seek a motion to close this public hearing. Mr. Wood, second.
Second.
Mr. Mannix, any discussion? Roll call?
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Mark Mannix,
Yes.
Paul Lemoyne,
Yes.
Gerard Renadette.
Yes.
Bernie Bassett.
Yes, we'll close this public hearing at 7:18 PM. That takes us back to resolution.
That's just one of the rules.
Okay, I would like to bring forward one concerning the request by at Champlain for a junkyard license and make that resolution number 173. You have a draft that you received about 23 minutes ago. Just for the point of clarity, there was some concern about the barrier that was used in the previous request for a junkyard license. In the interim, Mr. Champagne has made some improvements. I went down and visited those, and I believe everyone else has, and he would like to get his license. We have his money and get his 1-year renewal, and that's why we're bringing this forward very quickly, and it was not on the agenda before, but everyone did get a chance to visit the site. So with that said, I would like to have resolution 173, junkyard license renewal for 271 Ruder Street.
Whereas the town clerk has received a renewal application and fees for a license to operate a junkyard business from Edward Champagne Jr. at 271 River Street. And whereas Steve Imhoff, Code Enforcement Officer, has completed inspection of the junkyard. Whereas in response to the Code Enforcement Officer's previous inspection, the applicant has created a natural barrier and would like the town board to make recommendations for renewal of the junkyard license with consideration that the new barrier is sufficient and appropriate. Now therefore be resolved that the town board, town of Plattsburgh, does hereby approve said applicant, and the town clerk is authorized to issue the junkyard license to the aforementioned applicant, and it be further resolved that a copy of this resolution be given to the budget officer, finance manager, town clerk, and the building department.
A motion.
So moved.
Mr. Manick, second.
Second.
Mr. Renner, any discussion?
Just a couple of things. I did go down and take a look at it, and since I was one of the ones who had initially opposed because of the tire barricades and the stipulations that the town board put on last year, this is a much better option. I like the berm that's there. He's got more than just sand, so there will be some natural vegetation that will take hold. As I indicated to you, Bernie, I wish this had been taken place last year rather than make us go through this whole procedure. But it's done with, and I think that it's a good fit for that area. The other thing that came to mind during the reading of this, or during your comments about his 1-year license, is he in fact going to be getting a 1-year license, or is it going to be 9 months, 11 months? Because we're about a month behind everybody else now, and I don't want to have him revisit the
I
town
think
board.
they all expire at the same time, don't they, Ricky?
Right, so that's why I'm saying, he won't be getting a year's license, he'll be getting approximately 11 months.
Whatever's left.
As long as he realizes that.
It'll be made to realize that.
Okay,
We're not gonna prorate or,
okay.
start having different terms if these things expire.
Well, it's the same fee.
Had the improvements been done to the degree they are now in the past, we wouldn't be here. As you
Okay.
say, so. But Rick, you'll help make sure that gets done.
Yep.
I may not be available much tomorrow. Any other discussion? Roll call.
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Mark Vanek,
Yes.
Paul Lemoyne,
Yes.
Gerard Renner.
Yes.
Bernie Bass.
Yes, resolution carries. We also have another draft resolution in anticipation of moving on this local law, because I'm told by the department head that that needs to be filed with the Secretary of State to get us into compliance. The one issue that came up concerning Katyville, I'm not sure if that needs to be noted in this first. I don't know what, I'm not putting the resolution on the table. I think you all have a draft copy. I'm looking for some feedback.
I would wait till talk to Scott and then pass it next week.
Council's opinion is acceptable by everyone. That's what we'll do.
I would have moved the table anyway.
Pardon?
I would have moved the table it anyway.
I was almost anticipating. Almost an inside joke, right? For those that follow the history of the town of Plattsburgh. I'm out of regular resolutions and ones that I pull out of my hat, both tonight. But I would look for a motion to go into an executive session to discuss employment history of particular individuals, matters leading to potential dismissal, removal, promotion, appointment, etc. And to do an update on current litigation, the case Elzer versus Town of Plattsburgh.
So moved.
Mr. Mannix, do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Renadette, any discussion? We get a roll call on the motion to go into executive session for the two topics noted.
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Mark Manick,
Yes.
Paul Moy.
Yes.
George Renner.
Yes.
Bernie Brown.
Yes, we will adjourn into an executive session at 7:23.